who is probably going to upload her presentation just now. So Carolina is going to talk to us for ladies and other readers, popularizing knowledge in the Spanish monarchy and the role of translation in making new audiences.
Okay, thank you very much, Jenny. Well, I would like to start saying that my research is a preliminary stage, and therefore, rather than conclusions or a close and well-articulated discourse, I will present my case studies, pointing out some of their main characteristics, in order to, at the end of my talk, present the historiographical debates and analytical issues that I believe are important to frame its analysis. So the title, For Ladies and Other Readers, Popularizing Knowledge in the Spanish Monarchy and the Role of Translation in the Making of New Audiences. And these are my two case studies. Two collections published in Spain in the early 19th century, La Biblioteca Selecta de Damas and the Biblioteca Británica. The first one was undoubtedly inspired by the French collection, Bibliothèque Universelle de Dames. The second one is a Spanish translation of English texts, a selection, which were translated into French first and collected in the Bibliothèque Britannique and published in Geneva. I will move now to the Biblioteca Selecta de Damas. The Biblioteca Selecta de Damas, it is, according to its promoter, a collection of different types of knowledge adapted to the capacity of the, and I quote, first texts for their usefulness and recreation. The promoters of this collection, published in small format, 12, were familiar with the French collection, as I said, which they mentioned in the prospectus and from which they were undoubtedly inspired, adapting that French project to the Spanish cultural, political, and commercial context. The adaptation included the translation of French texts, some of which form part of the French collection. The Spanish collection as well was not intended in this adaptation from the French one, was not intended to be as large as the French one, which reaches 156 volumes, hence the choice of the adjective selecta in its title. It is important to say that the Spanish project was interrupted in the year 1808 without being completed. So when comparing these two collections, we have to consider that we are comparing a complete one of 156 volumes with an incomplete one of 13 volumes. Who were these collections aimed at? To whom were these collections addressed? We find the word damas, ladies, in the title, but the claim for ladies implicitly included a broader readership of both sexes, young and adults, encompassed in what historians of science have referred as non-specialists, amateur, or lay public. In fact, the French collection itself, in its second prospectus of year 1796, pointed out that because of its portable nature, 18 in this case, the collection could be useful not only to ladies, but also to young people, foreigners, travelers, soldiers, and in general to gens du monde. In the case of the Spanish collection, the promoters defended the need to educate women through a collection printed in a small format, on good paper, and an edition, and I quote, that serves as an ornament on the table of a lady's cabinet. In the title and in the prospectus, we find ladies as the target audience, although young people also appear as potential addressees. And I quote, "It should not be thought that because this collection is addressed to ladies, would not be useful to young people who wish to educate themselves. In fact, some of the translated works included in this collection were originally intended for young people, those on travels and history. For example, in the prospectus of the volumes on history, we can read, "We write for the youth, more particularly for the ladies, whom we must not only avoid fatigue, but also displeasure." So futility, simplicity, instruction, and entertainment are essential elements of both projects. So regarding content, in terms of content, it was stated that it would cover, I'm speaking about Biblioteca Selecta, it covered 8 classes, but different factors, economic and political, meant that this undertaking was not completed. In the screen, in the ones in black were the ones published, in blue the unpublished classes, and then the red ones are the classes that they were not even planned to be included, which are mathematics, including algebra, geometry, trigonometry, astronomy, or domestic medicine. But if we see the Biblioteca Universal, we find them there. So this is a quite difference between both collections. And here is just to let you know that the 2 volumes published on moral education was a translation of a French work. The 6 volumes published, well, the only volume on geography is a translation of volume 1 plus 1 of the Biblioteca Universal, and the other 5 on travels was a Spanish translation of the French version of an English work. So we have here a genealogy of translations. Okay. So now I move on to the author. The prospectus of the Biblioteca Selecta does not mention the number of volumes it was to contain nor the name of its promoter, but today we know that it was due to Antonio Marqués y Espejo, a religious man concerned with the education of women, a man who traveled and had a good knowledge of French culture and language. He spent some time in Paris, who was author and above all translator of French works whose protagonists were women. And again, just to, So these are some of the works by Antonio Marqués y Espejo, and in red you can see that they were all translations of French works. Marqués y Espejo possessed a fairly well-developed commercial mentality, and in this sense I would like just to mention he tried to publish a periodical dedicated to women in 1808 entitled Liceo General del Bello Sexto, Good School for Lovely Sex, maybe a very literal translation of the title, which he described, and I think this is important, as, and I quote, "a collection of methodical and elementary treatises by which ladies can acquire the useful knowledge of the lettres, logic, morals, and good arts." The periodical did not come out for political reasons, but it was undoubtedly the origin of the Biblioteca Selecta. In fact, the sample submitted for approval included already the translation of some of the volumes included in the Biblioteca Universal, those on mythology. I have to go back. Yeah. So regarding the authors of the Biblioteca Universal, I cannot spend much time, but just I would like just to tell you some information, but I would like to underline that they were all sympathetic to the ideas of the philosopher, Rousseau's ideas appear in the Bibliothèque, that is, with the idea that women have intellectual capacity but are incapable of reaching the highest levels of abstraction. The first thing for them, women, is to learn how to run the house and take care of her family, taste and kindness to please, and the rest of knowledge must be presented lightly in an easy way. Therefore, subjects are presented in the Bibliothèque in such a way as to be entertaining and easy to read, leaving out technical and tedious elements. And these ideas appear very clearly in the volumes devoted to morals, botany, Parmentiers' economy, or Rousseau's physics of the ladies. But it's true that in some classes, the more scientific ones, those on mathematics, astronomy, or chemistry, the view of women's abilities is slightly different. They include lists of savant women dedicated to these subjects. So now 3. So the spirit of these collections must be included, in my opinion, in a broader process, the popularization of knowledge explicitly aimed at a female audience. And we already know that Fontenelle's work, Entretiens, open up an era of diffusion of knowledge for a female audience. And after his work, we find a lot of publications like Alvarotti's, Ferguson's, Euler's, Lalande's Astronomie de Danse, which is included in the Bibliothèque Universelle. And for example, the 2 volumes on botany, it's an abridged and slightly modified version of another adapted text used by Tourette in collaboration with François Rossier for the use of students of the Royal Veterinary School. And these two volumes included also Lettres sur la botanique by Rousseau, which we know that it was, for example, translated into Portuguese by Marquis of Alorna. And in Spain, we also find these kinds of works for women. We have botany for women, chemistry for women, or natural history for women, which were published within a periodical, the Magazine of Agriculture and Arts for Parish Rectors, something that my colleague Elena Serrano already have studied, which are some of them by Spanish savants, adaptations of works by Spanish savants, and other were translations such as the Compendio de Química, which is an extract from an Italian work. So now I will move to my other case study, which is Biblioteca Britannica, which I need to study more, but I just want to present some of its characteristics. It is a monthly journal, a periodical encyclopedia, a collection of knowledge, useful for parents and teachers to use in the education of children and young people. So here, the target audience is not ladies, but children mediated through mother, father, or instructors that could also be women. It covered a wide range of scientific, literary, moral, and economic topics, divided into 2 series, science, which included science and arts, and literature, plus a supplement for agriculture. And literature included education, political economy, travels, biographies, fiction, so a wide range of topics. The authors' editors were the Pictet brothers and a friend of them, Frederic. And what I found very interesting is that the translation of these English works into French were made by women, the wife and daughters of Charles and the daughter of Mark. So we have women being part of this project. And the translator of a selection of this Bibliothèque Britannique in Spain was Pedro María Olive, a journalist, in this case a layman, not an ecclesiastic. He knew French language, he was a translator and a man concerned with education and the popularization of knowledge. So here is some of his works, and he before the translation of this Biblioteca Britannica, he already published other collections for instruction and entertainment addressed to young people. So it was something within a tendency in his works. So to conclude, another one. Yes. So framing my research. Well, this type of collections and periodical encyclopedias appeared in Europe in a cultural context that was fertilized by the prominence that the Enlightenment gave to education, science, and technology as pillars to favor the progress and reform of society, and that favored, in view of a growing reading public, the adaptation and circulation of knowledge outside specialized circles. How women were to be incorporated into this project was a central question. But alongside the women and enlightenment debate, my research aims to place this type of collections within another process, parallel and juxtaposed to it, that of the popularization or qualitative adaptation of knowledge carried out by different agents through different media and formats, and which led to the creation of a genre, that of bibliotecas, collections, or periodical encyclopedias, which was eminently transnational due to the central presence of translation. And this qualitative adaptation means Latin terms, technical names, scientific discussion and debate are related. If they were written in an easy style, the aim was to amuse and instruct. If they were agreed formats and oriented towards practical knowledge and utility to form or to educate useful citizens. The next one, please. So my two case studies, the Biblioteca Selecta and the Biblioteca Britannica, I hope will allow me to approach the complex relationship between the moral construction of women readers and the social, cultural, and commercial processes involved in the popularization of knowledge. And in order to address these questions, both collections, I would like to analyze both collections in relation to, as I did, first, their contents and formats, second, their addressees, explicit and potential, and the creation of new audiences, and third, as well, the role of mediation carried out by promoters and translators. The analysis will highlight the central role played by translation, not only linguistic, but also and above all cultural, in the circulation of knowledge between territories and social groups. Thank you very much.